Spider-Man cartoon?
No, we're talking about
No.
the Netflix TV show. Um, so I just hit the live button. I just wanted to let people know I moved this back. I'm sorry, but I had to because the test fire got extended because they were having some issues with their servers.
Basically, the
Someone
test fire had a misfire, but
yeah,
it still hit its
someone at
targeted
Nintendo
end.
was like, oh shit, we gotta fix this right now. And Satoru Iwata was like, don't make me break my foot off in somebody's ass to get this shit fixed. And I could see Satoru Iwata saying it. I can't say it in the stilted accent that he has, but it would be funny. Please understand that I do not want to break my foot off in your ass if you do not get this shit fixed. Now. But I digress. So basically, this podcast is a little bit different. We're going to talk about the Daredevil Netflix series because it's friggin' awesome. I mean, can we agree on that?
I can honestly say I think it's
Yeah.
possibly one of the best TV series I've ever watched. Period.
Um,
Balls to the walls in
I
your face.
have the theory that the show it's good because since it's on Netflix, the script and the show itself isn't doesn't have the creative restrictions of traditional television.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing before we get into the actual spoiler-tastic portion of this cast. Let's just talk about why it being on Netflix. I mean, who wants to go first about why they like it being on Netflix?
Because
Oh, you go ahead and go.
Yeah, let Mario go.
okay, I liked it because you can see the whole season without waiting for another episode. You can watch, you can marathon the season. Also, because I've never I never thought that Daredevil was a cool superhero. Mostly because the only portrayals I've seen from Daredevil is the one from the cartoon from the 70s, like Spider-Man and his super friends or something like that, where he appears with Iceman, whatever.
Iceman
And
and
the other,
Firestar. I know
yeah,
exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh boy.
and the other version is from the movie from uh, Ben Affleck or something.
Yep,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, that's the only versions, and they don't look like I don't know, just no. But this one, it's really good. Like they really built up the character. Like you see him from his beginnings of being a vigilante until the final episode. So yeah, I love it.
Okay, who wants to go next?
Dr. Feelgood, you go.
Can you guys hear me?
We can
Loud
hear
and
you,
clear.
sir.
Okay, just making sure. This show is just, it is phenomenal. I'm not sure if any of our viewers have seen this, a show I'm about to reference, but to me, every episode was packed full of action. There was no dull episodes. There are not too many flashbacks. Everything is tastefully done, and as Jay has mentioned, the Jay's Cafe, and shout out to him by the way. This is one of the few movies, and not just superhero movies, but movies in general, where there is not only fatigue, but bad guys don't just get knocked out from a single punch and lay on the ground indefinitely. They actually do get back up, and you see Daredevil get worn out many, many times. Like tired as hell because he's fighting multiple guys and they just don't seem to stay down. But
Excuse me.
it was, to me, it was far more down to earth and far more realistic. Nothing about this movie to me was over the top. I mean, TV series was over the top at all. Even my wife loved it. She actually binge watched before I did, even though I'm the one that told her about it. But yeah, she I've watched it twice. I think she's watched it twice. But honestly, and the show I was going to mention earlier, it's to me it's kind of like Prison Break. Every episode, there's always something happening. Always, throughout every single episode, is going to make you want to watch the next one. Even Mr. T, shout out to him as well. He said he tried to watch it, a couple episodes a week. He watched the first couple episodes. That didn't happen. He binged it.
Yeah, you
you,
can't do it. It's like a drug, man.
you can't stress this show out, people. So please don't try. I even had a coworker that came in one day. This is like 2 weeks ago. She was pissed at me, and I asked her why, and she's like, "Freaking Daredevil." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She says, "I started watching the show, and I didn't go to sleep until 5:30 this morning, knowing damn well I have to get up at 7." And so her like literally her eyes are like bloodshot red. She said she was struggling. She said, but she could not stop watching. I've gotten her like 4 or 5 shows over the last month, and she is just. She said Daredevil was it for her. Like she had to make herself stop watching through the week because she wasn't getting enough sleep. She
Man, that's
said,
not.
I'm not going to watch any more episodes until the weekend. I even kept asking her every day. She's like, yeah, I want to watch it, but I just can't because I know I won't sleep. But overall, I
I
have
guess.
nothing bad to say about this show. Usually there is a small hiccup with every show, and I'm not saying this show is perfect, but when I tell you, honestly, it's like trying to pick something at Nintendo. You're gonna if you bitch about something, it's gonna be something really really small and trivial and not affect the show at all. It's just you being nitpicky. Other than that, it is a wonderful show, and I love the fact that it doesn't have those rating restrictions, due to network television and even cable TV. I mean, this show is even sometimes. I mean, it's almost like an HBO show. It really is.
It's not TV. It's HBO.
I mean, if you ever think of Spartacus, and you know how that show can get very vulgar in many ways, this show is very dark. Think of like Dark Knight, but if you were to turn that into an actual television show.
I got something darker than Dark Knight. No, never mind. I'm gonna hold my tongue, my peace until Triple M gets his turn.
Um, I'm going to be short and sweet. Now, I was binge watching Daredevil as I was also watching The Flash, and I gotta say this. I guess I would give a nod to Daredevil more because I've heard that when the directors that was doing The Flash, um, well, yeah, they actually have to be they're actually on cable or on a on a channel that they have to do once a week, and with them they might have much more time, but then there's also uh, key aspects of the stories that had to be changed when time went on. As with Daredevil, they didn't have that much time, and any story arc that they had before was not changed. So that was one not going for Daredevil. Um, like people that said, yes, like commenters over here said it before. It's just bloody wicked, and even some parts of the show that didn't have any action, there was still some suspense going on at from the background. You can just feel the emotion, and oh my gosh, that was heavy emotion. Hey, um, Red, I was hoping if we could do this like like episode to episode, if that's the idea you had going for in this podcast.
I was gonna kind of do a loose episode to episode, but not too much, because only things that really stood out to you. So what might have stood out to me might not have stood out to you guys. So, uh, kind of like that. But I guess it's my turn now. Lord, what? How can I wax poetic about this wonderful TV show? Well, basically, it's a TV show, except it's not on TV; it's on Netflix. This show is so edgy and gritty that Zack Snyder has wet dreams about how edgy and gritty this Daredevil show is. If the Avengers and
I think edge and gritty was actually poor choice of words.
no, it's edgy and gritty. It basically,
No. I meant the comparison to Zack Snyder, which when DC said that, I considered it poor choices of words.
well, I'm saying that they want to be this edgy and gritty. The cool thing about this being on Netflix is that this show is not designed to sell toys. It's not designed to appeal to the tween demographic.
Oh, yeah, heck no.
This show is for grown folks. Like, I mean, like you remember the first time. I'm sure you guys remember the first time you went and saw a movie that didn't have explosions or anything like that, and it was a movie like for adults. And I don't mean like pornographic or anything. It just dealt with like really like dirty, just scroungy. It was just that type of film that it was like a kid would not understand this. And this show is a total 180 from what we saw in that Ben Affleck Daredevil film, where they're like, well, we can sell the toys, and we can make a Daredevil toy and sell it for $9.99.
Well, they could try.
I have a theory that they actually had product placement on the series.
Well, they may have, but I didn't give a damn about it. Which
Yeah,
leads me
but
to.
I want to. They want to sell avocados.
I don't. You mean avocados? They want to sell you avocados.
Yeah, avocados.
Yeah, which either way is a well, in Spanish, Castilian Spanish, it means lawyer, but in Mexican, well, not Mexican, in Aztecas, it doesn't mean lawyer. It means testicles. Which I guess when you're looking at Daredevil makes sense, because you got to have balls of steel to go up against the Kingpin. But I digress. So basically, the cool thing, the last thing is that this series is, I mean, if you take this, like, people saw this and they're like, well, it doesn't fit into Marvel's vision for the superhero in their Marvel Cineverse.
I say screw that.
Well, actually, I was going to get to that. But here's the thing. It does, because, I mean, not every hero in the Marvel Universe is like Iron Man or Thor or Captain America dealing with big things. You got to have the people who are dealing with the pond scum level of bad guys. Like the bottom of a garbage can outside of an adult theater that's got like menthol cigarettes and 3 old day Chinese carry out in the bottom that's liquefied and smells horrific, and like other stuff in the garbage, maybe some heroin needles and used condoms. Like you have to have those superheroes who deal with the dirty, rotten, just bottom of the barrel type crime. And you can't have heroes that's all the time top tier. Yeah, I mean, you got to have those guys who are like, I don't deal with, I mean, because it can't always be, well, it's
Yeah,
someone, the Infinity Gauntlet, or Doctor
yeah.
Strange, the devil himself is trying to take over our universe.
About it, about this, it's really hard to me to imagine that this series, like the story,
Uh-huh.
um, it just can't take place in the same universe that the movies like Spider-Man and the Avengers and those movies, because well, it doesn't the story doesn't belong in that context. Like,
But you'd be wrong. It
yeah,
it
Yeah.
it
they
very much takes
say
place in the same
yeah,
universe.
they say that it takes place in the same universe, but like doesn't fit.
No, it
Like
does.
like you see the Marvel movies, and it's uh, it's just like a Power Rangers episode, and I don't have any problem with that. But Daredevil, it's like the kind of villains and problems the hero faces.
Yeah.
They're the same type. Like
Um,
you will never see Daredevil fighting a alien or something like that.
I understand
Um,
what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but the reason I disagree with it is because it's kind of like this, okay? Um, if you have a girlfriend or any type of female family members, right, and they go out in public and they look great, their makeup's on, everything looks perfect, but that's basically like the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, right? But then you follow your girlfriend home and you see her without the makeup, and or you see her putting on her makeup. You see all the things she does in order to make herself look that glitzed and glammed up, and you're like, damn, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of details that I was not aware of. And those details, the dirty work that she does in order to make herself look that good, that's the Daredevil on Netflix.
That
That's the stuff you don't really want to think about, but you know it must exist because, like, if you do the leap in logic, it's like they had to get to, in order to get to that point, like, it has to exist. I mean, this stuff takes place in Hell's Kitchen, right? Hell's Kitchen is home to a lot of Marvel superheroes: Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, aka Power Man, who's basically like, I mean, this guy is like your low rent a hero for Marvel, okay? And sometimes he works for the villains because he's trying to get paid, son. But
there's
I digress.
there's I would say even go for there's also a time some comics, I forgot it was DC or Marvel, heck, it could be both of them. We actually saw um, at least low level thug gangster mafia actually work with uh, alien race that wants to take over the world, and the to say the gangsters wanted a piece of that pie to conquer as well. So it ain't
Well,
far off.
I won't go that far, but I will say it's very it's very the Netflix Daredevil thing is very gritty. It's very, like, it's dirty, it's grungy. This is a part of the Marvel universe that you don't normally see. It's like the brightest city, no matter how good it looks, is going to have a seedy underbelly. And generally speaking, the brighter and more glorious a city looks, the darker and seedier that underbelly, because the comparison, you know. But like I was saying earlier, in the Marvel universe, I mean, all of these heroes are in the same. A lot of them are in New York. Okay, you've got the Baxter Building, which is in downtown New York. Then you've got Hell's Kitchen, which is in uptown, or sorry, Midtown. And then you've got Stark Tower, which is in downtown. You've got Spider-Man in Manhattan, you know, all these dudes run into each other. You've got Doctor Stephen Strange, uh, who's basically he has a friggin' mansion that's like right near Central Park. Um, a lot of this stuff is really. They kind of cross paths, but I digress. It's time to get into the episode. So, who wants to talk about the first thing that they saw that really made them go, "Damn, this is worth watching"?
Well,
When
with me, let me just say, um, uh, um, the intro, the music intro, where everything was like covered in blood, soaking down. I was like, oh
awesome,
yeah, yeah, this is going to be good. I'm already feeling it.
Who
yeah,
wants to go next?
me.
Okay.
Um, the part when they want to kill the blonde girl on the prison cell, that
Hmm.
when she starts screaming, and it got like it felt like it really sold me that she was in danger, and yeah, I liked that scene.
Yeah, I think that was the part that she was. You could actually see. Well, to me at least, you can feel like she was close to be out of breath, and she's about to
Yeah.
die at that moment before she snapped one of her fingers in the guard's eye socket. I was like, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
she seemed like through all the episode until the end, she seemed like she was completely broken. Like you see her through the other episodes, but on the first episode seems like a completely different character.
Well,
Like
she
she's
was under investigation for murder,
yeah.
and she was found with the murder weapon in her hand, covered in blood, and the dead body at her feet.
Yeah, and that's why the show is good because I
Shit.
believe it.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
Um,
okay. About her being discovered by the policeman, covered in blood with the knife in her hand. Okay, maybe it's just me, but if I wake up in in a crime scene with my hands full of blood, but I do not have the knife in hand, I am definitely not going to pick up the knife.
um, the one reason could be that when you are in that kind of situation, you don't think critically.
logically,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's a hard situation. So
But Ken, you there? Okay, I guess it's up to me. The the
Did I miss
thing.
anything?
I was just gonna say, what was the thing that really sold you on this series? Where you were like, oh shit. The oh shit moment where you just it cooked you and you started binge watching it.
Um, for me,
Yeah.
it was actually that first episode. The second one for sure. I'm pretty sure most people say the second one just basically solidified the show for them. And I would agree with that. I really will, 100%. But also that first episode where the one thing that just really got to me was like he went to the church and he's like forgive me Father if I've sinned, and he's confessing and stuff, and then I forget exactly what he said, but and then the priest is like, hey, where you going, whatever, like this isn't how this works. He's like, I didn't, he says, I didn't come to you, to like to forgive me. He said, I want you to forgive me for what I'm about to do, not what I've already done. And
Yeah,
he goes to that pier and just like it, it was great. It was really great.
for me, in that scene, the whole freaking fight was going on till the very end. and the last person to even get hit was a dude that was on the freaking chair, trying to eat a sandwich, looking at the whole fight, and only afterwards he got knocked down in the sea.
He couldn't believe that shit. He was like, I can't believe this shit. This
And
is like watching a live action kung fu film.
What about that guy that the black ball guy that the DMX wannabe that kept trying to pick up the gun? It's like, okay, dude. First, you got hit, you got knocked down, took a pretty good hit. You're trying to you're trying to get yourself back together while on the ground. You go for the pistol. He dodges your shots again, and then even after he pretty much. It's like you repeat that whole process, and then you go for the gun again, and then when it shows him just beating his ass to a pulp, like just fist after fist after fist, and like, are they gonna actually like fade to black while he's doing this?
Nope.
and then like you actually see him deliver like a good 10 more hits, and it's like,
yeah.
I'm thinking like he's gonna kill a dude, but then I saw him later on. I was just like, oh, if you didn't die, you should definitely not want to keep doing the shit you're doing.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing that gets me about that. The thing that gets me is that the dude, like, you feel no sympathy for this guy, and the reason you don't feel any sympathy for this guy is because, like, they establish that he's kind of an awful person. Like, they're gonna sell these women into sexual slavery, and he's like, well, if you're nice, I'll give you a bucket. It's like, you fucker. Well, look, there's gonna be cussing. There's gonna be cussing, y'all. You can cuss. And I'm like, I hope Daredevil beats your ass, and he did too. It was great. But the thing that cemented this for me was the promo for it. When they showed Matt Murdock, Daredevil, and like he's like, you could tell he's like, they show that scene where he's like in a puddle and there's blood coming out of his mouth, and he just looks like he just got the shit kicked out of him.
Yes, that was a great promo for it.
And
it shows you the real human factor. He's not an Avenger. It shows you real human factor about him.
Well, not just that. When they, like, I put the stuff together. When they said Vincent D'Onofrio's the Kingpin, and like, I'm a Daredevil fan. Well, I'm not a Daredevil fan. I like Daredevil, but he's not my. But I'm a huge Kingpin fan. And one thing I like seeing is Kingpin beat people's ass because he's so good at it. And I'm like, man, Daredevil, the first time he fought the Kingpin, he got his ass kicked. And my God, if I get to see the Daredevil get his ass kicked by the Kingpin, it'll be all worth it. And
look, come on, you got to put in the context that that Daredevil got pretty beaten up badly by Noble before going after the Kingpin.
No, I'm talking about the what was it called? In the comics.
The comics. Okay.
In the comics, the first time everyone fights the Kingpin, they get their ass kicked because they look at the Kingpin like, well, except one. There's one dude who's fought the Kingpin and he didn't get his ass kicked.
Oh, which character was that?
Joe Fixit.
Joe
Fixit is an alternate personality for the Incredible Hulk who wears a pinstripe suit, and he has gray skin and a fedora. And Joe Fixit got in a fight with the Kingpin and beat his ass. But Joe Fixit's the only dude I've ever seen just manhandle Kingpin. Because normally...
You talking about Grey Hulk?
Grey Hulk, a.k.a. Joe Fixit, did not get his ass kicked by the Kingpin. But that's Joe Fixit, Joe Fixit was talking shit too. He's like, what are you going to do, fat ass? Bring it, fat ass, And the Kingpin made the mistake. The Kingpin had his own gambit pulled on him because the Kingpin likes for people to underestimate him and to think he's a fat ass. And then he totally kicks their ass. And they're like, oh like, they're dead. And like Joe Fixit did the same thing to Kingpin, and Kingpin was not prepared for that ass whooping. And he got pimp slapped by Grey Hulk. Grey Hulk's like Joe Fixit's like, he's like, you're lucky this shit's personal and not business, because if it was business, I would have to kill you. He's like, right now I'm just gonna have to. Well, the thing you have to understand about Joe Fixit is that he's a persona that Grey Hulk created. Because the Grey Hulk is a little bit more amoral than Savage Hulk or Green Hulk, and he basically was trying to run a criminal empire, and the Kingpin tried to muscle in on his turf, and Joe Fixit wasn't having that shit. But I digress.
Let's see. There was also that part when Karen Page, the one that got oh crap. Great. Now I am having an aneurysm. Brain aneurysm. Yeah. Let's just, the lady that's been falsely accused of the crime, when she went back to the house, to her apartment, and trying to get that stick.
Yeah, she's an idiot. I wouldn't have gone back to that apartment if you paid me.
And then she lied about it. He even asked her, like, you know, do you still have the information? And she's like, no, like,
No.
it must have gotten lost. He's like, you're lying.
He knew she was like. The thing is like, okay, first of all, if you know anything about Daredevil, all the women that he goes with die horrifically. Something horrific happens to them. One of them literally died of AIDS. Literally, she contracted and died of AIDS.
Not a laughing matter, but dang.
It's not a laughing matter. It's hilarious how women who sleep with Daredevil, Matt Murdock, always something horrific happens to them further down the line. So, like, Daredevil has the Daredevil STD. If you sleep with him and you're a woman, something horrific happens to you. So, like, every time I saw a female character in this show, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go with him. He's a lawyer. He's so cute. I'm like, no, don't do it. No.
Well, as I
Something
was saying,
horrible is gonna happen to you.
yeah, well, as I was saying, when that killer went back to that apartment, gotten the flash drive, and then Matt was there as Hell's Kitchen's devil, and that fight scene broke in the freaking apartment, in the freaking living room. I was like, oh, things are gonna go down here, and then they basically fly out of the window, almost 2 to 3 stories high, falling down. I was like, okay, someone's going to snap something here. But even after that, the fight ensued, and that dude with the knife was actually pretty darn good.
Not good enough.
Yeah,
I can tell you another part that got to me, man, and it was one of the fight sequences they did. The one where he was trying to save that Russian, and they got it. That he finally got outside right before the Russian got shot, and these corrupt cops come up and said, "Let's just do him like the boss told us to." And one of the cops, he actually grabs him by his mouth and slings him to the ground head first.
Mm-hmm.
One of the black cops. I was like, dude. I said, man, stay down, dude. Please stay down, because if you're still conscious, you're missing at least 6 front teeth.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you the thing that really got me in this that really got me. My favorite fight scene early on is that fight scene in episode, I want to say episode 3, where Daredevil gets his, it starts with where he gets his ass kicked. And then he meets the nurse, and then he's going to rescue the kid.
Oh,
and
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about that small corridor fight.
Yeah, that is one of the most well choreographed fights. And here's what made it so cool. is that it basically, like, most fights, like, you see these dudes, they never get tired, they never get out of breath. Like, literally, Daredevil, he's got all these injuries. He wraps his hands in rope so he can punch these dudes and not hurt his hands so much. And, like, these dudes are tired. Like, he beats up this one dude and they fall down and they're getting up and they're like catching their breath. They're tired, like, ugh.
And then there's even one part when he one of the guys gets up and he like does like a lazy hop over to him and then punches him like so hard that he like has to lean back against the wall because he's tired as hell.
Exactly, and they're
like
all
even
tired.
Daredevil was like, man, shit, like this needs to get over with fast.
They're all tired. The Russian's tired. Like, he's tired. I mean, they're just like, damn, this is. I mean, and here's the thing: if you've ever been in an actual fight, like an actual fight, that is how it is. It's not this bullshit where you see where the dude's like, yeah, I'm in perfect shape and I'm fighting for like 15 minutes straight and I never get tired and my hands aren't hurting. No, really, it's like, oh God, Jesus, my ribs, my hand hurts. I think I broke my hand hitting that guy in the head.
You know what? You know what I liked about in the beginning part of that corridor fight is when one of the dudes came out of one room, seeing the door already smacked down with some other dude lying down there, and then when he inched his head to the doorway,
he hit him with the TV.
And as soon as he walks to the room, he goes flying like right back out.
Yeah, he hit him with the TV. I mean, that's what I really liked about that fight. It was very like visceral. It was very like dirty street tactics almost. You know, Daredevil's gonna have to fight dirty because he's outnumbered, and yeah, he's got enhanced senses, but he ain't got superhuman strength. He's more agile than the average person, but he ain't Spider-Man agile. You know, like he can dodge a bullet, but not because he moves so quickly that the bullet's moving slowly. It's like I heard the hammer get cocked back, and I knew the dude was gonna shoot. It's not like the bullet's moving so slowly. It's like it didn't do anything. So I mean, I really like how dirty that fight was, and how this dude's just trying really hard.
There was also that ending part when Daredevil was literally punching the guy 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then that last hit, that last knockdown, he basically knocked himself all the way to the other room. I was like, oh God.
Now and then another part that I love is when Rosario Dawson was helping him. He had that guy on the rooftop.
Oh, you mean it's in the trigeminal nerve?
The eye torture. Oh,
get him! Stab him in the trigeminal nerve.
And then she's like, "Aren't you afraid he's gonna hear?" He's like, "Oh, he's passed out. What if he's faking?" He's not. I was like, he looked over there for like 2 seconds, like, "Yeah, he's not faking." But when he actually like threw him off the roof, I was like, "Did he actually did he just really kill this guy?"
Look. Like I said, I don't feel sorry for these people. They do human trafficking, prostitution, and I don't mean like escort prostitution. I mean kidnapping folks and selling them into sex slavery. So F them. They get what was coming to them.
I got 2 things to say about it. Now, one, the eye torture thing. Now, the person that was the actor that was being tortured.
He was selling it.
Yeah, he was really selling it.
He was selling it.
The first part, he was really yelling out loud, and then afterwards, Daredevil covered his mouth, so it was muffled. But then, just at the last second, when he was still being tortured, you can hear him. His breath was muffled, but then at the ending part, you felt like he was literally oh crap! Why do I have the word jizz in my hat? It wasn't.
Whoa!
You mean he was pissing? It sound if you felt like he was peeing on himself.
No. I got to it. He was like spazzing. You go, oh, something like that. I was like, oh, he's really cool.
And another good part I love, man. Same episode, but when he dropped that fire extinguisher from like the fifth floor.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
I'm like, I'm glad. I kind of wish they would have showed it, like hitting him. But it's like he literally just stood there, just like, yeah, wait for the right moment. And then when he dropped it, like 3 seconds later, you just hear somebody hit the ground. I said, dude, that was a fully stocked fire extinguisher. If that dude shouldn't even be alive. If he, that
Well,
was ridiculous, man. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know if he shouldn't be alive. It definitely knocked him the fuck out. In the words of Friday, they should have went down there, man. You got knocked the fuck out. But yeah, I mean, I really like that. I really liked that third episode. I really liked how the dude got beat down. It was great. But then that leads us to the fourth episode and Bowling Ball Man.
Oh my god, dude.
You know, let me open it up with this. When I saw that bald character came in to have a bowling ball, I was like, wait a minute. For me personally, I was like, wait a minute. I think I've seen this man before. And then when finally the fight broke out, I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely a martial artist. I've seen him before on YouTube videos, so yeah, this is gonna be good.
I don't know about that, but I'll tell you this much. The dude definitely. I mean, I was like, look, this guy obviously has been hired by the Kingpin to get this guy out of the way.
Oh
Okay?
yes.
Now, at this point, you haven't seen the King. You haven't seen Wilson Fisk. You've heard his voice, but his hand, his fingerprints are everywhere. Okay, and I'm like, oh shit! Like he caved that dude skull in with a bowling ball, and as someone who used to bowl a lot, I'm like, god damn! I know how heavy a bowling ball is.
He definitely has the upper body strength to do that.
Yeah, well,
unless they're actually faking that is a fake bowling ball instead of a real one.
I don't know about that, but like you could possibly kill someone with a bowling ball.
Oh,
using that.
definitely.
You can definitely kill someone with a bowling ball doing that. Which is why it was so visceral, and how the guy's like, yeah, I'm giving myself up. Take me to jail. I do not care. Go ahead.
I want a lawyer.
I want a lawyer. And like they get Murdoch and Foggy and Foggy to represent him, and like they get Wesley to do it.
I kind of love,
you know.
I kind of love the part where Foggy, when Foggy saw Wesley coming in, and he was like, "Oh, this man got loads of money. Let's bring this man as a customer." But Matt here really disliked him, and I kind of like the duality between Matt and Foggy about how they should pick or going with the integrity of their line of work and the customers that they want to represent.
I mean, but that went, but see, what I like about it as well, I agree with you there. But they also have that there are moments where they don't see eye to eye, even though it's very brief. Like for example, they both want to have a practice law and cover, and actually, take on the ones that they feel are innocent and are worthwhile.
Yes.
But in that first episode, when they sat down with that girl, and she was like, "I don't have any money," Fuck was like, "Well, it was nice meeting you, miss." It's like, that's messed up, dude. You're the same one talking about, "Hey, if you hear anything about any special cases, officer, let me know." And as soon as she said we have no money, you were about to walk out on this chick, like, not even consider it. And then episodes later, Foggy's like, "Look, is this what we're doing now? Is this what we're just covering the big guys and stuff like that? I thought we were supposed to make a difference." It's like, weren't you the one about to let some chick die because she didn't have
Yeah.
any bread?
Well, I like that dichotomy, but let's remember early on in the episode when Foggy sees the check, he's like, "Shit, we got to take this case."
Yeah,
And then they're like, "Well, we'll go see the guy." And Matt's like, "No, we're not going to do this case." Like, "Well, fine, can we at least just see the guy?" So they go and see him, and Matt's like, "I'm not going to take this case. This dude is guilty as the day is long."
Um,
And Foggy's like they talk to the guy, and the guy's like, Foggy's like, "This dude is fucking guilty. We can't take this case. This guy is insane."
about that, um, there's on further episodes. Like I know that the lawyer friend of Murdoch. I don't remember the names. I only remember.
Foggy.
Yeah,
Foggy.
Like I think friendships have a limit.
Yeah.
Like he could
Yes.
be his best friend, but seemed like he made decisions that could really hurt his financial situation. Like when they offer them the job on that firm, and just because Murdoch says that that's not right, like we have to make a difference because up to that point they don't have any proof that that firm of lawyers is actually corrupt. So he just okay and rejects the job, rejects a well-paid job to go to work on a crappy office. I think I don't know. Um, it could be your best friend, but you don't make that kind of decisions. Uh,
Um, I see where you're coming from, but you also have to keep in mind that two things. First of all, in movie logic, all big firms are dirty, rotten, corrupted, sleazy places.
Bag.
That's the first thing. Second thing, in the real world, where do you think all those big firms started? They didn't
Yeah.
start as big firms. They started as small 2-3 man offices that eventually grew into big, huge firms. And if you get in, it's easier to get in at the ground floor than it is to work yourself up to associate or even partner. Because here's what people don't tell you, because I have quite a few friends that are lawyers, and I almost went to pre-law myself. When you go to one of those big firms, they work you like a dog. You're talking 80, 100-hour weeks. You very rarely see your house. And even though they say you're making all this money, your quality of life is so shitty that, like, at a certain point, the money's not really worth it. And you can still get fired any time. You get a little bit more job security if you become an associate, but even then, you're still worked like a dog. And basically, you're ranked. You're pitted against each other. You're ranked depending on how much money you bring in by helping out on cases or bringing in clients. And it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a lot of competition. Very few top places at the table. If you're lucky, I mean, it's dirty. It's a dirty. Oh, it's dirty. So I mean, it actually makes a lot of sense if you're young, idealistic, out of law school to say, you know what, screw this, let's go make a difference. And I mean, in the comic books, they are those types of friends, although they do have their disagreements, as we saw in episode 4, where like Foggy's like, yeah, this dude's guilty as sin, let's not cover him, and Matt's like, you know what? I can find out more about who the hell this guy works for. Who is this major player who's running people out of business? This is also the first time we learn about Ben. Forgot his Ben Bullock.
Ben Urich.
Yeah, Ben Urich. Ben Urich, who basically, in the comics, he's a white guy, but I mean, this black guy who plays a more world-weary, older Ben Urich who's like really like he's been through some shit. You know, the been through some shit Ben Urich. They changed him around a little bit. He doesn't work at the Bugle anymore. Now he's at some other newspaper and
New York
being
Bulletin.
marginalized. What?
New York Bulletin.
Yeah, he's being marginalized at this other newspaper. You know, I mean, I liked how they did that, but you could tell that this episode didn't have a lot of action. But when it did,
let me just interject. There is one phrase or statement that pretty much makes the whole episode worth watching.
you're a coward.
No. When he's arguing, when he's arguing with his boss, and his boss is like, "Print this," and he's like, "The color of the railroad on the light rail." He's like, "This isn't news." He says, "We're not a girly mag." He says, "They don't call them that anymore," and he says, "There used to be a time where people in this town wanted the news." He says, "What about this expose article?" He says, "You know what they did for our magazine when you wrote it? Dick with a side order. Who gives a shit?" I was like, "Damn!" Like my wife and I could have stopped laughing at that.
Or what about this part when the boss said, "There's people that we know out there that's writing blogs that reels in cash twice or three times more than the New York Bulletin or than them."
Yeah, that right there, and I like how that like really hit home with him. He was like, although I don't want to do it, I mean, this guy has a point. Like, it is BS, but truth is, there are bloggers and video loggers that make probably a lot more money than he does and do a
And
lot
in their
less work.
underpants.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like the interplay between Ben Urich basically like he's on the tail end of his career. He's got family issues. He's got money issues. Like, this guy looks world weary and just beaten, but he doesn't want to give up the fight, because Ben Urich in the comic books, he's like that. This dude does not give up. He's got a lot of fighting in him. And I like that interplay, but the thing that cemented this one for me is the end scene where that dude gets off and he's carrying the groceries and Daredevil forces him to give him a name. And, like, the dude's like, "You're a coward! You don't know what you've done!" And offs himself in the most gratuitously violent way I've ever seen in my life. I mean, this was some seriously effed up shit right here. This was...
I'm going to say, there was a part in that fighting scene where Matt basically did an aerial roundhouse kick, and not just one kick. No, both two kicks on the man's face. That was like, oh shoot, you don't see that often.
That was some Jean-Claude Van Damme shit right there.
Oh yes. But then even before the fight, when they were doing the whole courtroom thing, I love that part when Matt was using his senses.
Talking about the fights, that's one aspect I liked about the series, that you feel that Matt Murdock is struggling, like he has a actual one-on-one fight. Like he doesn't seem like well choreographed.
Yes, and mind you, it was the person he fought. He was almost his equal.
Yeah, I'll say you see him make mistakes during the fights. You see him also get punched and kicked, but he also fights back. And as I said, you see him struggling. It's not the same superhero trope, like he doesn't. Like he dodges every hit. Like, no, I mean, he's agile. Like, he's really good at fighting, but it looks like a more realistic fight. It's like here a couple of years ago, In the news, one black belt, a karate black belt instructor, was assaulted, right, by two guys, and he beat them up, and they got arrested. But you see the instructor, and he looks like he
He was in
has
a fight. Yeah, he was in a fight.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he was a black belt, but he also got hurt, like, but he won.
Yeah.
And you see that in Daredevil, like you see that he earned the victory, not like he's overpowered or he inhumanly agile.
Well, the thing that I like about Daredevil in general, and you'll see it as the series goes on, as the 13 episode run goes on, and there will be spoilers because we'll talk about it as we go on. Because this is part one, we might cut it halfway through and do a part two later on. But the, like Daredevil, this dude, when he's in a fight, he's in a fight. And the cool thing about heroes, like a hero is only as good as what he has to struggle against in order to overcome. Like the reason Superman is really hard to make a good Superman movie is like there's very few villains that can overpower or overcome Superman. Like you either have to make him weaker or you have to you have to do something in order to make him on par with his adversary. And like that's to the detriment of the character. I mean, it's the reason why even if you like a character, every once in a while you just want to see them get their ass kicked. So that they'll have someone who will be like, okay, they have to overcome those odds. It's the reason why I liked seeing Goku get his ass kicked by Piccolo in the world at the end of Dragon Ball.
About that, they don't have to be so overpowered. They need to have weaknesses and overcome those weaknesses. Let's say the Resident Evil movies. Those movies are like just Mary Sue fan fictions made into a movie because the character she always it's always about her, and she never struggles, like she has like superpowers, and it's boring seeing that she's perfect in fighting, and she never struggles. It's how many movies are there? Like 5.
Dude,
It's boring.
The reason it's one of the reasons that the Daredevil series is such a breath of fresh air, because you see this guy struggling, which leads to the next episode where I think episode 5 is where he meets Stick.
So I actually wanted to finish my end of this episode.
Go ahead.
The courtroom. The courtroom scene was for me kind of breathtaking because at that specific time, you actually see Matt hone his 4 senses, actually 5, because he basically can see, but not all that much. But I digress. When he was actually listening to the heartbeats of the oh crap not witnesses, the jurors. When he exactly pinpoint one of those jurors, which everything around this person was blurry, but her face, or let me just say, particularly from her face, body, whatever specific part, you can see that that Matt was basically crap, not pinpoint, not dull. Oh,
he was reading the jurors in order to find the corrupt one.
Yes, but the way they showed it to us was awesome. And then, well, the first time he did it once with one of the jurors, but then when they wanted to go at it again for a second try, at that point we all thought, yeah, the Murdoch bad, they got it in the hole. They might probably win this, but then when Wesley came in, and we didn't know it was Wesley until we heard that familiar the tick tock watch going on, and then when Wesley sat there, we heard at least one heartbeat going faster and faster, only to find out. Wait a minute, we still like Matt is finding out that there's still at least one person in the jury um, that that basically got them hung. But the way the actor Charlie Cox uh, uh, um, the way he made us see how, his reaction. He was like stumped, surprised, like wait, someone in here. We still have someone in here that's going to hung us. That was the old lady. I was like, God dang, these bastards. It's like you take one out, and yet they're going to find someone else to put in to dampen your mission. I'm like, oh my God, we're never going to win. They're never going to win this until, well, Murdoch had to put on that costume and they beat the snot out of the person.
Well, I mean, the thing is like Matt Murdock. One of the cool things about him in the Marvel universe is that he represents heroes.
Someone's making a phone call.
So, yeah, the cool thing about Matt Murdock is that like the courtroom is also his domain as well.
Yes.
Like he represented Peter Parker when he was accused of murder by while he was framed for murder by Wilson Fisk's son. Like he's done all that cool stuff. So basically, which leads to
Oh, there was also
episode 5.
right. There was also the part when he was up on the stand and saying that sometimes we can see justice and all that crap. There's a thin line. Other times it's a blur. And then he made a snide remark about it's kind of like sex. You know it when you see it. That was a good one. That was a good one.
I disagree, but anyway, but the hilarious thing is, well, he said it was it was a bastardization of the obscenity case that went before the Supreme Court. Then the judge who wrote the opinion said, we can't define obscenity, but I'll know it when I see it. So basically, but anyway, I digress. Which leads to episode 5 when we first see Wilson Fisk. We first see Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. And we see this dude in an art gallery looking at a white canvas painting. I can't really. This is the first time we see the man, the myth, the legend, the dude that you do not want to fuck with ever if you can avoid it. Any thoughts on Wilson as Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk, Ken? Or should I say Dr. Feelgood?
It's your case, Doctor.
How about you, Mario TGP?
Well, let me just say this. Let me just go on by saying this. The first time I see Wilson Fisk,
Hmm.
the first thing I noticed was he had this jiggling.
What were you
Oh,
saying?
yeah. Yes. The first time we see Wilson Fisk, he has this jittering mannerism about him. Like, okay, in my point of view, he's like ready to kick someone's behind, like literally. But yeah, um, and also this is the first time I've actually seen Vincent D'Onofrio, how freaking tall he is. Hmm. Okay, it's been a long time that I've seen Law and Order, but bloody hell, is he like a towering beast.
Well, Vincent D'Onofrio's like 6'4". He's like 6'4", 6'3". The dude is huge. I mean, he is, and he's friggin' huge. And you didn't know how huge he was until you saw him in that thing. It's like, God damn, God damn. Whoever pisses this dude off is gonna be up Shit's Creek without a paddle.
Oh yeah.
Because look, if the Kingpin has to personally handle something, you done fucked up.
And then the way that D'Onofrio portrayed the voice for Wilson Fisk, I was like, okay, this guy is freaking creepy. I mean that soft but yet burly voice. You just felt, I just felt the hairs in the back of my spine just went tingling, or more like more like I didn't know I had spidey senses until that time.
I already knew the actor. I watched him on the Law and Order, criminal whatever. But yeah, I liked him in that series, and yeah, here on Daredevil, it really impressed me. Really impressed me, his acting.
Yeah.
And that's one really weird situation with that character. Like, in some moments, I actually was rooting for him. When he
His
got in trouble, and I understood why he was like that. Obviously, like, he's a violent man, but yeah, I want him to to succeed, because I already knew that he was going to be defeated by Daredevil anyway, but I want him to succeed over the other bad guys.
the other
You know?
criminals that he's playing like like the devil Amadeus in Faust. He's playing them. They're dancing to his tune. He's the puppet master pulling the strings in the dark. But
Yeah.
here's what I will say. This episode was great for establishing Wilson Fisk, and it told us everything we needed to know. But
Yeah.
I mean, we saw him, how uncomfortable he is in public.
Oh
How
yeah.
how even the restaurant was filled with his men and people on his payroll pretending to make it comfortable for him. But here's the thing. There was that moment in this episode where well, let's see. Anyone here ever seen Boys in the Hood?
Oh crap! It's been so long. I need to rewatch
Dr. Feelgood, are you there? Oh well. Anyway, there's this scene in Boys in the Hood where there's this police detective, and he gets this guy who apparently was part of a murder, and he's interrogating the guy, and the guy gets crossed up in what he's talking about, and the detective's like, you know you done fucked up. Now you done fucked up. You know you done fucked up. And like when that dude came into that restaurant, that Russian dude came into the restaurant, and he was talking like and embarrassed the kingpin in front of his girlfriend. I was like, man, you done fucked up.
Yeah, he's dead.
Now you done fucked up. You know, look.
Actually, from that one scene, I kind of understand why, this line popped in my mind, or this old saying, you can't mix business with pleasure. Heck,
No.
with this, you can't mix personal with business.
I'm not even gonna say. I'm not even gonna say business. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in this case, it was more like business mixed with business and personal matters, which he really did cap something like that when we first saw their meeting, which it was oh crap, where is that? We see Nobu, Madame Gao, the two Russians, Vladimir and I think it was Pushkin, anyway, and the Leland Osley, and then Fisk himself needed to represent there, but no, he sent his best friend or his lackey, whatever you want to call him,
Wesley.
Mr. Wesley.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say Wesley is like kind of like his assistant.
Yes.
/ his friend. Like he's the closest thing that the Kingpin has to a friend. Like is Wesley.
Yeah. And like you said, when he just busted, I mean, I am sorry. I think I'm an understandable person, but when you hear or when you heard that the man does not want to mix his business matters with his personal life, why in heavens would you go in the restaurant and just basically kill his evening?
Well, I don't even think it was business and pleasure being mixed. It's just like this, okay? Everyone remember a few years ago these punk ass kids were at the zoo in San Francisco, and they teased a tiger, and the tiger jumped the fence, and just those two dudes that were picking on it got them and killed them, and then people we had to euthanize the tiger. I'm like, that tiger was doing people a favor, because people should know not to fuck with a tiger. I mean, I feel relatively safe that since I don't go around fucking with tigers, a tiger's not going to kill me. So basically, it's not that I root for the Kingpin. It's just this man is a fucking tiger, and if you piss off a tiger, if you tease it, if you poke it with a stick, don't be surprised if it fucks you up. And that's what happened to poor Vladimir, whatever his name is. Vladimir.
Before all that torture that happened, I loved when Wesley was talking to him in the van about the past will come back to haunt you. Like the past is like a smoke. You lock it behind a door, but that doesn't mean it's going to go away. No, it's just going to stay in that closed off room, just waiting for someone to open that door, and they'll come and bite you in them.
I'll tell you what was funny about episode 5. What was funny was how during that ass whooping, the dude tried. I'll give him. He gave it the old college try to fight the Kingpin. He tried as hard as he could. It just wasn't good enough. And he's crawling towards the van
I'll go even.
He's like he's reaching out to Wesley. He's like, "Can this dude help me?" Wesley just closes the door. He's like, "No, no, you can't. No, I'm the shit. If you think I'm getting out this car to help your ass, you must be crazy. Yeah, I know you smoking some good weed, man."
I'll go even further to say when that Russian actually stand up and try to pick a fight with Fisk, I'll give the sound effects crew this much credit, because when he was trying to pulverize Fisk's face, you hear the sound effects of his fist connecting in Fisk's face. It felt like Patsy, but then when Fisk was doing the punching, they sounded like you actually feel the pounding the Russian was getting. That was like,
well, I mean, here's the thing. They established to show that this Russian guy had been through some shit. He was not a floor flusher.
Yes.
A floor flusher. But next to Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, oh shit, he had fucked up. Like I said, when he went into that restaurant and embarrassed the Kingpin, I was like, man, you done fucked up. You really done fucked up, man. I don't know what the hell to say, but
you embarrassed me.
You better call. You better get your will straight. You better call your kids if you got any and tell them you love them, because you ain't gonna see their ass again, man. And he paid the ultimate price. He got his ass kicked. And the Kingpin, actually, I take that back. He didn't get his ass kicked. He got his head smashed. Now, the hilarious thing is that, Vincent D'Onofrio is giving his interpretation of the Kingpin, which is pretty damn awesome. But I just want to say this as someone who's read the Kingpin comics. I've seen the Kingpin in a comic crush a dude's skull with his bare hand. Not hands, just a hand. Just his hand, he crushed a dude's skull like you crush an egg. So basically, the Kingpin is not a dude to be fucked with. And this episode 5 really established that, man, this dude fucked up.
There was during that brutal torture.
That wasn't torture. That was ass whooping.
That's good. That whooping. There was a kind of swing that Fisk was making when he was doing an uppercut, but in my interpretation, the way how that hand or full body swang upwards, it felt like a reverse pile driver.
I don't know about a reverse pile driver. All I'm going to say is this.
No, because normally the pile driver comes down, but this one, it comes from below.
I'm not going to say anything about a pile driver. All I know is this. This moment in episode 5 illustrated why you do not fuck with Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin.
Period.
And it just, look, they fucked up. I'm sorry, man. The dude, when he went in that restaurant, I was like, no, don't do it, bro. Don't do it, dog. Like, literally, every character in video games and movies should have a little personal angel that pops out and says, hey, man, I wouldn't do that if I was you. And this man could have used that little dude to just pop up and say, hey, man, are you sure you want to go in this restaurant and open your mouth? Are you positive? Are you serious? Can't this wait till tomorrow?
And before this whole thing was established, or how brutally whooped he got, but before this, the two brothers always had this idea. The reason why Wilson Fisk doesn't want his name to be, or he doesn't want to be named, is because it would betray Wilson as he's just a mere human. Oh my bloody Lord, they got it so wrong.
Now, the reason Wilson Fisk doesn't want to be named is because, like, here's the thing.
He doesn't
Wilson
want reference.
Fisk, and this leads to episode 6, really. Wilson Fisk is all about the facade. Okay?
Yes.
What's in front? Like, okay, Wilson Fisk, what you see in front of him, Wilson Fisk Industries, that is the facade. Like, he gives to charity, he's a connoisseur of the arts, fine wine, well-kempt, tailored suits. But that is just a front. That is just a mask. What is beneath that mask is a brutal force of nature that will put your head in an SUV cranny and smash the door over.
I like the
Until it's nothing.
how awkward he talks when he's talking with the girl.
Denise, yeah.
Yeah, like, I want to make this city in something beautiful.
But to me, but to admit to a complete stranger that I want to change this city. I've already hurt many people, and I'm going to hurt some more. I give her credit because unlike most women, she's like, this dude is upfront and honest with me, and she's completely supportive of it.
No, dude, Denise is fucking crazy. Denise is psycho her own damn self. And look, that is not a good couple. Two psycho ass people together. Oh shit! I feel sorry for their son. Well, that's actually the future. You'll find out about him later on. If you read the comics, you'll find out about Wilson Fisk's son. But
actually, the character's name is Vanessa. But
Denise, Vanessa,
but
crazy chick.
Yeah, crazy chick. But
they make a great couple.
They do.
Yes.
Look, she got aroused, which leads to episode 6. She got aroused seeing half of Hell's Kitchen get blown the fuck up. She's like, she was getting off on it. She's like,
also,
in her defense, though, like I can see why, because he told her, he basically flipped the script, said that, hey, the Russians that kidnapped their little boy, like, they were the ones responsible, and that's what I just did to them. I like eradicated them. Like, he flipped that, even though he knows them and knew they were part of it. He flipped what he told her by saying that, hey, the people that kidnapped their little boy and the women, they're the Russians, and I just killed them all.
Yeah,
yeah, but I don't think she was. I think she was getting off on the fact that there were explosions and people were dying.
Well, maybe
Vanessa's kind of psychotic.
She could be a
so
pyromaniac.
what's her name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa.
Speaking about Vanessa, you are like insanely rich when you start buying like crappy paintings for thousands, for millions of dollars.
Well, the Kingpin is insanely rich, but his money was gotten through illicit means.
Yeah, but I mean the art gallery. Yeah, he's a customer, but I mean the other customers too. Like, they are so rich that they like who will spend millions of dollars on really nothing, like a canvas with splashes of paint.
Well, there are people who spend huge amounts of money. Like, I think Pablo Picasso went for $2.7 million recently here in the U.S. And that was, I mean, that's a Pablo Picasso. People spending money on Renoirs. I mean, the thing is, art is in the eye of the beholder, but certain artists, especially known artists like the Pablo Picasso, the Renoir, the Benets, those are really very, those are, it's a sign of culture and money. But we all know why Kingpin bought that thing. That was, look, he was trying to impress the girl.
Actually, I wanted to say this. I actually wanted to say this before we moved to episode 6, but let me just say it anyway. The ending of episode 5, the ending of that brutal massacre, is when when he's done, you see him walk away from the van, like walking towards the snapshot, and he's like gazing out in the open in nothingness. Then you see Wesley come to him, hands him a napkin. He takes the napkin, looked at it, and just wipes off the piece of blood spatter off his left cheek, like very softly, like it was nothing. Like that. Oh my God,
And
this is.
and dude, Wesley, his character is awesome. And I'm sorry, but he's awesome. Like that dude is the defining. He is a clear definition of loyalty
Oh
to
yeah,
a very demonic degree. It's like,
he's the perfect evil henchman.
and then
Perfect
what got
evil
to me,
henchman.
what got to me is like even after he just watched this dude get decapitated by a damn car door,
Yeah.
he's like, so
Opens the door,
he,
gets out.
he said, so what should we do about this? And I'm thinking like, dude, did you just ask the question so casually? And even he was slamming his head in the door. I thought when I first saw the episode, I thought it was a different SUV, a separate one.
Nope.
I said, hold on. I said,
No.
are you actually in the van that's being used
Yes.
to communicate and it's shaking?
Yep.
And you're just sitting there like you're reading
Yeah.
something off your Kindle.
Well,
Like, what the hell?
Ken, have you forgotten that when that ass whooping first started and he's on the ground and he's trying to reach for Wesley's door and Wesley just closes the door? He's just casually like, you might close the door, you're about to go on a road trip. And he's like, no, I don't think I can help you with this one. He's like,
You know,
I mean,
I kind of loved the part when Kingpin was smashing the Russian dude's face with the car door, and he just sat there like nothing. The blood splattered on him, on his face.
Dude, not even that, but the van was rocking. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you're in the van, you're in the SUV in which this is taking place.
Yes.
You're not leaving. You won't even get out of the damn car?
hell no.
Nope.
Even
Now,
when the
see-
blood got like now I probably would have stuck around, but
Shit.
until the blood got on him. But once the blood got on him, I'm like, okay, dude, this is clearly it's okay for you to get out at this point. You've been
Yeah.
splattered. Like
Yeah.
Platoon, you've been splattered.
I'm gonna be frank.
He
If
stayed
I had
there.
been Wesley, I would have been like, in that van, in that SUV ride, I'd be like, dude, I would have pulled a Tom Hagen on Tessio. I'm like, look, man, this ain't gonna end well for you. So we got about 5 minutes till we get to the spot. I advise you call your kids, get your will in order. If you got a mistress, tell her you love her, because.
And you know what? That reminds me. I think that reminds me of episode. I think it was episode 4 when they showed Ben Ulrich or whatever, when he met that guy, like some guy he used to know that
Yeah.
was in jail, and the guy's like, he's like, give me something, man, anything. He's like,
The rules.
he says it used to be that when you killed a guy, you send his wife flowers.
Flowers.
Nowadays, when you kill a guy, you send his wife with them. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that Kingpin has taken crime. Like, the thing is, and I mean, we'll cut it off after we talk about episode 6, and we'll just save the rest of it for part 2. But the thing about the Kingpin is this. The thing about this Daredevil series is that you have this dichotomy between these two characters who actually want the same thing. The Kingpin wants to remake Hell's Kitchen in his own image, what he thinks perfection should be. Daredevil wants to save Hell's Kitchen in his own image, the way what he thinks Hell's Kitchen should be. The thing is how they're going to do it. The Kingpin wants to destroy Hell's Kitchen and rebuild it from the ground up in the way he wants it to be. Daredevil is like fighting vigilante, like low-level street justice in order to, kind of get something to change about Hell's Kitchen. I mean, these two opposing forces. And in episode 6, you see how connected the Kingpin. I mean, he's got all these people on the payroll. I mean,
so we
Is
already,
episode 6 when he's trying to save the Russian?
yeah, episode 6.
That episode, dude, when he was in the car,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, Wesley was like, "Well, there's an issue." It's like
there's like a reporter on the scene or whatever. He's like, turn his head. I'm like, is that your slogan or vernacular for bribe? Like, what the hell? He
So
said, yeah, he's on scene. Turn his head. I'm like, he said, no, that's not going to work. It's Ben Ulrich. Oh my God! Like,
so now we already talked about the Sticks episode, right?
The
Uh,
Styx is the one after this one.
okay.
Styx is the one after this one. Styx is the one is episode 7. Styx
Yeah.
is the one where you get a little bit of the mystic portion of Daredevil. They hint at it because in the future, the Black Hand versus the Chaste, which makes up Daredevil's faction. It becomes a big. It's a big thing in the Daredevil in the Marvel universe, but they can't get too deep into it because this is all about Kingpin versus Daredevil. Because this series takes a lot of its cues from Frank Miller's run on Daredevil, where he made Kingpin, which up until that point had been a caricature character, who would appear in he was like your generic villain. You know how Superman, it's always Lex Luthor almost all the time. Yeah, Lex Luthor. Yeah, that was the Kingpin.
Yeah, I just want to talk about that episode because there's a line that really I felt it was like out of place, but I'll wait until we get to that episode.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There's well, if we are talking about now about the Sticks episode, there's this part when Matt Murdock as a kid, it's sitting on a bench with Sticks on a park, and he hears a couple, and he asks why her
oh
heart
yeah.
is beating so fast.
He said, what's wrong with her? He says, worse. She's
She
in love.
asked, yeah, I feel like it feels like, oh, she's in love. No, like love is a so vague concept that he knew that she was in love just because her heart was beating fast. No, that's
No,
the only line I
I
felt
would
was
agree
out
with
of
you, but that's
place.
episode
no.
7, and we were talking about
Okay.
episode 6,
I
which
don't
was
know,
how
man.
Daredevil's getting hunted down by the city.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
episode 6 was. And what gets to me about episode 6 is that this Russian, I understand that from the lies you've been fed that, hey, according to you and what you've seen and heard, that this is the guy that took your brother's head off using the car door, basically. Um, but it's like, even when he saved your life, like 3 times before y'all got to the warehouse, you did try to fight this dude, and then they fall through what, like 3 floors, 2 or 3 floors,
Yep,
and they were both like out cold for a minute.
yep.
And then once again, you like see like the blood on the ground with him waking up, and it's like, and he's like, then what gets me the most is that after he wakes up, and the guy and he says something like, what was that about, whatever. He says, is it gonna solve it? He says no, but it is something, but it sure was fun. It's like you're saying that as you're about to pass out into again. It's like,
I'm s-
what the hell?
I'm sorry. To me, that sounds like pride.
Now, the funniest thing that came out of this episode was like Matt Murdock's like, we have to work together to look this great, like the sewer great, and then we can escape. And he's like, are you with me? And the guy's like, you can suck my dick.
And dude, I'm sorry, but also that dumbass freshman cop that
He's a
walked
Who
in,
got shot? Yeah.
yeah, dude,
he's a
I felt bad for
freshman.
him, but then again, I was like, dude, he told you
Don't do
not
it.
to do that. Don't do it. And then he only knocked you out.
But
Then
then
you
your
have guys
partners
come
came and
in
shot
and
your
they
ass, though.
kill you.
Yeah.
He was definitely no, I can't say collateral.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Here's what this episode showed. It showed how deep, how far the Kingpin's corrupting influence is. This
Yeah.
guy is. I mean, like you've got this one dude who doesn't have these type of connections going up against this machine that's made to bend the will of a city towards what this guy wants to get done.
But even before that, how about the time when one of the Russians, one of the Russians' underling got caught, set in jail, and then being the question by those two detectives. I was like, okay, I already had like a bad air with those two detectives, but then after that interrogation, when the dude flat out named Wilson Fisk, that's when things really went hairy for me. I'm like,
well, we knew the two police, we knew those two detectives were corrupt in the first episode, where they have Claire in jail, and they're they're holding her, but they have no charges against her. It's like, this makes no sense, and you could just tell they were very corrupt even then. But if you follow the tropes of cinema, but I mean, it was a very, very good. It was overall a very good episode, and I wish that it really showed just how powerful, like the Kingpin. Like in episode 5, you saw how physically powerful the Kingpin is.
Yes, yep.
But in episode 6, you saw just how powerful in terms of like influence, money, corruption. This dude, the Daredevil has the fight of his life in front of him. And I don't know if he can, I mean, at this point, we're less than halfway through the series. You don't know if he's going to make it. It's like, goddamn, shit.
Actually, here's what I actually liked about with this episode, the connections between this episode and the one previous. When we first that dude with the whole bowling thing incident, when we first heard of the name of Wilson Fisk, then after we go to this episode, we have what was it? We have Claire Temple, who's a nurse. That she got. Wait a minute. She got kidnapped by the Russians.
Yep.
Then she thought that she heard the name Vladimir, and thinking that was the person that was on the top. But then when we got to the interrogation scene, the name Wilson Fisk came back, and that name got more emphasis when the two detectives shot their prisoner, which it was I kind of liked that setup, because you were like, okay, we heard the name Wilson Fisk first. Oh, big man on top. Then you get sideways with the name Vladimir, the Russian. Oh, and you would think, no, he's not the guy on top, but it seems like they want to put emphasis on the Russian. But then again, went back to Wilson Fisk. I kind of like that. It didn't want the story writers didn't want to stick with one name. They just want you to go back and forth to see if they want to stick with one name or go with the other. That was good.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying. The thing that really got me is that, like, you saw how deep this guy's influence is, and this leads us to episode 7, where, like, Daredevil is hunted by the entire damn city right now. They think he killed some cops. He kidnapped some kids. Like, they said that he killed Kennedy. Like they're pinning everything on Daredevil right now. I mean everything.
At that point, I was like, dear Lord, I'm actually watching a comic book unfolding in my eyes. It's like, oh yeah, they got this down. They got this down.
I
And
liked it.
silence.
I liked it. I really did like it. I thought, holy crap.
Who just called him the GameCube game?
Uh, that was me. That was me. That was me. You got me.
I said, hold on, that shit sounds familiar.
That was me. You got me. You caught me. Red-handed.
Speaking about Red, you know, I kind of like the fact that. Ooh, I think we lost TGP. Anyway, moving on. I kind of like the fact that the first person that got shot in that raid was Detective. God, crap! I got the name up here. I think it was Detective Blake.
One of the dirty cops.
Yes, one of the dirty cops.
Well, they had to do that because they got to make it look legit.
But also the fact that he accidentally leaked the four locations of the Russians hideout that they were wanting to that they bombed, and he never warned Fisk about Daredevil's Mike showing up because he lost the phone to him. So that was like, this is like, before that was even established, in my mind I was like, oh yeah, this is the price that you pay for having this scenario to drag on this long.
But I mean, we kind of saw that coming, though.
Yes.
I mean, we saw that, like, we saw when these dudes, I mean, they're so damn corrupt. These dirty cops. These dirty cops.
Real dirty.
Well, I mean, they kind of had it coming. I mean, we knew that. I mean, like, literally, later on in the series, like, one of these dudes friggin' kills the other.
Oh, I can't wait to go to reach that part. But yeah,
I don't think we'll get to that because this is episode 7. So overall, halfway through binge waxing poetic about this series, what do you guys think? Did you was it worth it? Was it worth it to you? Mid level thoughts. I won't say final because we're not at the finale yet, but.
At this point, it was bloody worth it. I mean, I was at that point I was literally watching the comic book strip unfolding, and even though I haven't fully read Daredevil's comic books, but there were few pages that I was actually reading on the net, and just from those few pages, I'm like, I'm actually watching the comic unfolds in my eyes right now as I'm watching Marvel's Daredevil that I'm supposed to be watching on Netflix.
It was good. I'm just saying, I wish all games were that good.
Excuse me, you said games?
Games, story. I just wish they were all that good. Because it was that good. The thing about Daredevil is that it's visceral, it's raw, it's basically what Like,
But
it's dark and gritty,
but the
and it's
type
done
of
on a budget, but it doesn't feel so. It doesn't feel cheap. It
well,
just feels that it was done on a budget. You know what I mean?
exactly. But for the type of hero and for the type of hero and the story that it has,
Right.
it's freaking legit.
Yeah, it is. It's also
Any
very dark and gritty, and I
yeah.
like it.
Any
So,
any thoughts, Doctor?
Me personally, man, I'm gonna say it like this for all those watching. This show is worth missing work for. So if you've been looking for a show to watch that truly interests you, I would honestly say Daredevil is it. Like, go ahead, you know, if you can't play your off day, call your boss, do a little coughing, just say you can't make it, send an email, I'm telling you, and just binge watch the entire show from that morning. Don't even waste time brushing your teeth. Just go, just eat. Just make sure you eat and watch the show. Nothing else. Don't even go to the bathroom. Just hold it all.
no, go to the
No, no,
bathroom,
no,
please.
no, no, no,
You do
no,
not want to.
no,
You do not want to pee on yourself.
no. Might as well, might as well bring an empty bucket or.
Wear a
Uh,
diaper. Where it depends. Where it depends.
Speaking of which, I thought I heard Jeopardy in the background.
Yeah, someone was watching Jeopardy. It wasn't me though.
Oh,
No,
Doctor.
Now, all I'm going to say is this. This show is really good. If the first episode doesn't get you, go to 2. If the second episode doesn't get you, go to 3. And if the third episode doesn't get you, go to 4. Once you hit 4, you're going to be like, shit. And if you don't want to watch those 4 episodes, just watch 5 and then continue watching, because 5 is where it grabs you by the balls and squeezes. And you're like, oh, okay, I gotta watch the rest of this, because 5 is where a dude loses his head. He literally loses his head. It gets smashed into a door. It gets smashed into an SUV door, which is the most brutal. Like, that's one of the most brutal decapitations I have ever seen. I mean, that shit was better than something in Saw.
True.
Because Saw, it's so clean. It's like, oh, this dude was hooked to a car. Like, even Wilson Fisk had to work at getting that head to come loose. He's like, hoopsia, hoopsia. He just kept on going for it. I mean, he's tenacious. I'll give him that much.
Yeah, he really wants to see the job done, even if he has to do it himself.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if the Kingpin has to personally get involved, you're really screwed.
Heck yes.
All I know is, man, like I say, people, call into work. Take a day. Take a day off. Should be fine. Watch the entire show back to back to back. Turn your cell phone off too. Like, no.
Well, now that we've done that, I guess it's time to.
Oh shoot! I wanted to say this. Okay. The second time I was watching Daredevil, I was watching it with my mother and my oldest sister.
Why would you watch that with your mother?
Because apparently she's into Marvel comic books and DC, and
Damn.
through her, I got introduced by, well, at least Wonder Woman, and she had the original comic book that I am still embarrassed to say that, yeah, but I was a young lad, didn't know any better. let's just say I really wasted that comic book. But anyway, I digress. But the very gory scenes in Daredevil, my mother and my sister couldn't even watch.
It's some hardcore. I mean, literally, this is some of the most hardcore shit I've ever seen before in my life. Was some of the stuff going on in here? I mean, it was, woo, that was some hardcore stuff.
To be honest, I thought I would be the one that would look the other way. Nope, it was completely opposite.
Now, I will be fair. I did kind of go through the scenes. I did kind of go skip through the decapitation scene once, but just had to get that through. So without further ado, it's time to give our sign-offs. We lost Ken and we lost Dr. Feelgood and Mario TGP, but that's okay. Let's give our sign-offs and plug anything that's coming up next a little bit.
Well, this has been Triple M, the Lone Wolf, and Fondness for Games that pops out my artworks. And people, if you haven't watched Marvel's Daredevil of Netflix yet, you're missing on the greatest. And honorable mention.
If you haven't seen it, you fail at life. You fail. I don't care if you've got a bachelor's degree. I don't care if you make $1 million. You haven't seen it yet, you fail. You fail at life.
Unless you're not a Marvel comic fan, but I digress. And honorable mention to The Flash, which is also ended freakishly, wickedly banged.
What happened, guys? Did I just drop out?
Yeah, you came back.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
We're giving our sign-offs right now. Triple M's going first. You can go second.
Okay. Oh, are you finished?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Oh. Well, this is Dr. Feelgood here, guys. I really hope you enjoy the show. Take my advice. Take off work. Cut off your cell phone. Don't let anybody call you. And yeah, the worst thing about this show, after you finish it, binge watching it in a single day, you'll be pissed off at the end. Not because of the ending, but because you got to wait a whole year for the next season. So let there be a warning. If you do want to stretch it out, it's not going anywhere. It is a Netflix original. It only belongs to them. So yeah, you can take your time and watch an episode every week if you like. That may last you about 3 months. But trust me, after the first and second episode, you're done for.
Yeah, you will. I tried.
Just call into work, lie to your boss, cut off your cell phone, lock your house up, and flatten all the tires on the tires of your car. So you basically you have an excuse.
You can't leave. You cannot go anywhere else.
I'm telling you. And in fact, me will take off 2 days because you're gonna want to probably watch it twice.
Again.
Yeah, I will admit I have binge watch it. So I guess it's my turn. Okay. I'm not doing well. First of all, I'm just gonna let everyone know this. I have scheduled the part 2 of this podcast next week because like everyone and their mama's gonna be doing Splatoon podcasts, and it becomes redundant if everyone does the same thing. So I'm going to be talking about Daredevil. The last few bits we'll be talking about the Kingpin, a man not to be effed with yet again.
Red.
Yeah.
You lied to us, man. You said we were talking about Splatoon during this little cast too.
We did. We talked about it earlier in the very beginning.
Not live.
No, I mean live. You said we talk about it a little bit.
Well, I mean, shoot, man. I'm sorry.
I'm pissing around with you, man.
I'm sorry. Look, listen. We cannot talk about games all the time because there's other stuff.
Whoa, hold on. What the hell you mean we can't talk about games all the time? We're gamers.
We are gamers, but that encompasses other things. For example, being a gamer encompasses only
gaming. It don't encompass anything else. It doesn't. I'm sorry.
Okay, fine then. I have to prove my gamer cred. Okay, this entire week I've been playing Paper Mario 64 on the Wii U Virtual Console. But here's the kicker: it's not as like the whole time I was playing it and beating it. I'm like, man, I really want to play Paper Mario Thousand Year Door for the GameCube, and I found my Paper Mario copy. Thousand Year Door for the GameCube.
So that's what that GameCube startup was that I heard earlier.
Yeah, but my disc is stretched to hell. So basically, I have to buy a disc cleaning kit and clean my discs. So
just take it to a place that can do it for you for like $3 or $4.
I don't know any place that cleans discs. So
you have like I'm not sure if you guys have this where you are, but like a movie trading company or something.
Nope. But that's okay. I bought one off of Amazon for like $10. So.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I got it taken care of. But I digress. So basically, I can't get any game capture footage because my game capture only captures in HD, and I'm using my Wii as a GameCube, and the Wii is an SD system, not an HD system.
Oh, let me guess. You got the Elgato HD 60?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the option to get that one. And I deliberately chose to get the Elgato HD, the one that still does HDMI, but also does standard def component and and composite as well as S-video for legacy systems.
I did HD 60 because it was on sale, and I was like, come on, as many people have access to these old games. If you haven't played them yet, that's on you. But that's just me. It's like, you haven't played it yet, that's on you, man. That's not my fault. But I digress. I will definitely try and come up with a solution. I might have to get another capture card. They aren't that expensive. Although I really don't want to go with Hauppauge. I tried a Hauppauge and I hated it. But I digress. So basically, that's what I'm doing next week. I might do an unboxing video, and this has been a slow news week, so you haven't seen much content from me. But that might change next week depending on what comes out. But that's it. Just want to give you guys that information. It was fun, and I hope you guys have a good Memorial Day weekend and eat burgers and hot dogs and ribs and chicken.
And honor thy soldiers.
Yeah, that too. But mostly eat barbecued ribs, slathered in barbecue sauce that are looking good.
And let me just send a shout out to the Good Shepherd, Shadow Fox, Infinite, and also Quan Manchu.
I'll cook a rack of ribs for you guys and eat them in honor.
I ain't cooking shit, but I'll give you props.
See you guys in the future.
Salute to them.
Buy the Ike Amiibo.
Still on that thing.